Welcome to the Call Your Shot podcast, your weekly sports recap podcast where we break down the hottest headlines, dissect the latest injuries, and serve up our own hard-hitting analysis of the past week in sports. But that's not all. We're not just here to talk about the past, we're here to predict the future as well. On the Call Your Shot podcast, we boldly predict the outcomes of the upcoming week's games.
Hop right into the NBA. We have some news from yesterday. The Golden State Warriors played the Minnesota Timberwolves last night, and the first possession of the game ended up getting a scrap between Klay Thompson and I can't remember the Timberwolves player. I can't remember what his name was.
Not remembering his name either. Not important, anyways.
Okay. Well, they ended up getting an altercation. Rudy Gobert came in and tried to break it up, grabbing Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green went straight Debo and then proceeded to put Rudy Gobert in a chokehold for 30 seconds. Ended up getting ejected along with Klay Thompson, and now has just been suspended for 5 games. So what are your thoughts on that, Drew? And how do you think the Warriors have looked so far this season with Chris Paul?
So when it comes to that's a multi-part question there. I'm going to try to break it down as quickly as I can.
There you go.
In terms of the fight, I don't know. I think I don't nothing against our French people. We love our French people that listen to the show and that don't listen to the show. We love our French people in general. But Jaden not sure if I want. Yeah, there we go. That's who it was. I'm not sure if I want this Frenchman doing a whole lot of fighting because he has a tendency to start stuff and then just run away and not finish his business or finish his food. Whereas
big man.
Exactly. Whereas if you start scrapping with Draymond, he'll talk that talk and he'll walk you down as well.
Knock your ass out.
Exactly. So I'm like, if I had to pick somebody in a fight, I'd probably pick Draymond, even though, the reach advantage technically goes to Rudy Gobert there, but that's neither here nor there. He also got him in a nice little, anyway.
So the forum was impeccable.
Exactly. But in terms of how it's going with Chris Paul, well, it depends on if Steph Curry's on the court or not. Because when Steph Curry is not on the court, they look terrible. Absolutely atrocious. And even same thing when it comes to Draymond Green. When Draymond Green's not on the court either, they also, I'm pretty sure, have a negative plus minus. And it's, I want to say it's close to like negative like 20 something, mid 20s when Chris Paul's been on the court this year. So it's going about as good as what I thought it was going to, as well as I thought I was going to go. Having Chris Paul out there alongside an aging team. So, you get what you get when you have an old team and a young league. So.
Yeah, it's been definitely interesting. I didn't know if he was just kind of trying to find his role or not, but as you mentioned, without Steph Curry playing, the Warriors kind of looked abysmal. Nobody on the team's averaging more than 15 points other than Steph Curry, who's averaging 30. Chris Paul is averaging about 8 points and is shooting 20% from the three. So it's been a very tough start for them shooting-wise.
Is that bad?
Yes, that's not great. Yeah, this is not great. Chris Paul's averaging 8 and 7, so he's getting some assists. Always known that from Chris Paul, but the Warriors have looked up and down. They've beaten some good talent, but they're 6-6, currently 8th, right behind the Lakers, sitting at 6-5. So we'll have to see if they're going to start getting things to click. But as you mentioned, they're a much older team, so. Are they going to be able to click? Are injuries going to play a role? And, what's going to happen come playoff time? So we'll have to wait and see with that. Anything else that you want to get into NBA-wise?
I think another thing, too, is how surprising the Timberwolves have been playing this year. They're not only getting it done on defense, but they're also getting it done on offense as well. And Ant-Man has been just showing up and showing out each and every night.
All NBA.
He keeps playing like this, he might be pushing for MVP as well.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is, as long as Embiid and Jokic are still out there, you still got to go past them. And especially if Tyrese Maxey is, dropping 50 burgers on people's head like that, then that's also going to be another player that's going to get in his way or steal some votes as well. But I do like the makeup of what they've been doing out there. They currently have the highest rated a defensive rating when it comes to, well, defensive rating, and they're basically dominant at all three levels of play. So like in the paint, in mid range, and at 3-point range too. So
yeah, the Timberwolves have looked great. Anthony Edwards, as we mentioned, has been playing phenomenally, averaging nearly 28, 6 and 5, and has stepped up defensively. He talked about during the offseason that was something that he really wanted to work on, and not only be a non-liability on defense, but actually be somebody that can lock up players, and that's what he's been doing this year. And everything's been kind of working much better. There hasn't been many changes compared to last year's team, so it was a little surprising for me for them to start 8-2 when there hasn't been really any changes to the lineup. So the Timberwolves have been a very bright note for the West. Similarly with the Mavs, we keep talking about it. And I expected them to eventually, come back to reality, but they're still sitting at 9-3, and Luka and Kyrie have looked very good together. Rookie Lively has been a nice presence in the paint for them. So what have your thoughts been on the Mavs, and do you really think that they can continue to be one of the elite teams in the West going forward for the rest of the season?
I mean, I had all the confidence in the world in the Mavericks. Unlike somebody over here, I'm not going to name any names, but
yeah, I thought they were going to be a playing team.
But like I said, like in this day and age of the NBA, it's not so much based around defense. Like we've seen a lot of the totals this year in like the 230 range, and there's even some games that are getting up to the 240 range. So obviously, not a lot of defense is being played if you're playing games and like scoring 120 something points a night or 130 something points a night, and that's one of those teams. The Mavericks are one of those teams that's able to just hoop. Yeah. And the Bucks are trying to do that and doing it very poorly. They're putting up a lot of points, but they're not stopping even a nosebleed on defense. So I think that Kyrie Irving has made a major impact, but it's even more of an impact when you have Luka Doncic next to you dropping like triple doubles like it's going out of style. So I think that as long as those two are healthy, and then also Kyrie still wants to play basketball, like I said before, they're going to be a dominant threat in the West.
Definitely. Lastly, coming out of the West, the one thing I wanted to get into would be the Clippers. Since James Harden has joined the starting lineup, they are now 0-5 in games where they've played, and it's looked not that great. They don't know what closing lineup they want to use. They don't know if they want to close with Zubac or not. They don't know if they want to have Westbrook in it or not. They just had a tough loss against the Nuggets where they were up 7 points in the fourth quarter, and the Nuggets ended up walking them down. Ultimately, Tyronn Lue decided to try to play small ball against the Denver Nuggets and take Zubac out and play Kawhi Leonard and Paul George on Nikola Jokic to close out the game, which ended up being barbecue chicken. So what are your expectations for the Clippers? Do you think that they're going to get things going? We both had them as probably like a 3 or 4 seed after the trade, just purely based on talent, but it has not been meshing so far.
Yeah, I'm not concerned because when they got Russell Westbrook, okay, I mean dude, we're in November, like the season
I'm not concerned.
goes.
Like I don't think they're going to miss the playoffs or anything like that, but like this is going to be a problem. I think. They don't have an identity. They don't know what they want to do, and how are they going to stop a team like the Nuggets or Lakers?
Well, yeah, and so that's what the rest of the season is for: is building up that chemistry, learning from each player and what their deficits are, and learning how to play around those deficits to kind of hide those. One of the main problems is that I believe are top 5 right now in isolation points. Which means they've just been doing a lot of, okay, your turn, my turn kind of basketball instead of doing any pick and rolls or pick and pops or running actual offense, moving the ball around. It's just a lot of dribble, either post up, step back 3, or,
with
just
James
taking
Harden?
a terrible shot.
I would have never have guessed.
Yep, exactly. So right now they're currently 0-4 with James Harden. They've lost 5 straight. They lost 5 straight when they initially got Westbrook last year, but then they were able to come back and win a playoff game against the Suns. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm not concerned, is that it took so long for them to gel, even just adding in one more core piece in Russell Westbrook. And so you add in um, James Harden right now. Yeah, sure. When James Harden's off the court right now, they have a plus 14.7 net rating, which, you know, but, and then also when James Harden's on the court, at least since they've traded for him, they have a negative 5.8 net rating. And Philly's net rating since trading away James Harden has been plus 6. So now maybe it's a little bit of addition by subtraction by Philly, but at the same time, I do think that time will ultimately allow the Clippers to figure their stuff out. We'll say stuff out and build some chemistry, like I said, and learn how to play off of each other instead of just having one player go and the next player go. Because other than James Harden, Paul George is not much of an ISO ball kind of player. He's more like pass it around, get a nice either like spot up shot off a screen, or catching like an open three, or whatever. And Kawhi Leonard maybe will back down somebody, kick it out to somebody that's open, or spin off towards the baseline, dunk on somebody's head, do something crazy. So, or shoot a line drive three, which drives me crazy as well.
Goes in.
But yeah, exactly. So that's my take on Philly right now.
Yeah, that's fair enough with the Clippers. I think that, we talked about last year when they tried to incorporate Russ and they ended up going 0-5 with that start to the season. I think that was a little bit more understandable. I think that, I would probably say that James Harden is a better offensive player at this point in time than Russ, but I think that Russ is going to give you 100% effort every single night. James Harden is, I would probably say, a liability on defense, and offensively is an ISO type player. So I'm not exactly sure how they're going to try to incorporate all that together. They've already talked about players like Bones Highland is probably not going to be able to see any playing time on the court. Norman Powell's minutes have been reduced. Terrence Mann's minutes have been reduced. So overall, the chemistry on the team as a whole, it seems like, is getting affected pretty badly, which is probably has to do with them in these losses as well, because people can't really get a rhythm. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. They do have a game against the Rockets coming up on Friday, which should be a game that they should be able to win. So hopefully they can get started on the right foot. Any other teams that you wanted to cover in the West or in the East?
No, I don't. Well, actually, yes, but I was looking up this stat. That's why my brain's a little off right now. I'm looking at Ausar Thompson for Detroit.
Pistons.
He's currently averaging, he's averaging 10.3 rebounds a game. He is 6'6".
Mm-hmm. He's
like
top 5 in blocks too.
Yeah, like I don't know. Don't count him out for MVP or Rookie of the Year. I mean, not MVP, but Rookie of the Year. He's looking a little bit better than Victor Wembanyama when it comes to getting rebounds and blocks as well. So, I do think that the Pistons have a nice future ahead of them. It's just they're just so young and inexperienced, and their core is solid.
Yeah,
but how would I describe it? They're like, I don't want to call them like little baby trolls, but we'll call them little seedlings. All right, so like they're not sprouted yet. They're still little buds. They're still in the ground. We're getting ready to grow. But I think give them a year and a half, maybe 2, and they'll definitely be. I think that they'll at least be a 5 seed.
Within
4 seed,
a few years or something like that. Because you're right, I like the core.
I'm writing down
2 years. Okay, I don't know about all that. It's currently sitting at 2-10. Obviously, like you said, they're still young. Cade Cunningham is in his 2nd or 3rd season. Thompson looks good. Stewart as a center is a solid piece. Duran, and they also have Kevon Knox as well, and Wiseman, who kind of got left for dead once he got drafted by the Warriors, and now he's just kind of a piece. But fair enough. One team that I am not necessarily surprised with, because I did have them as a potential surprise team is the Pacers, who have looked very good. Tyrese Halliburton has had like a stretch of like some of the most efficient basketball that we've ever seen, with 30 assists, 0 turnovers over the past 2 games, averaging like nearly 25 and 10, or 25 and 13, sorry, and has been able to carry the Pacers to a top 3 seed in the East. So did you have any outlook on the Pacers? You talk about potential MVPs, don't leave my boy Tyrese Halliburton out there. I'm just saying. So
hey man, coming into the season, I was the one that was telling you how well they're gonna be doing this year, and you were like, dude, stop it, man. Like,
no, you
crazy,
said that you were
bro.
surprised on how high I had the Pacers.
No, I said that I think that they're gonna be good, but like, how high do you have the Pacers?
I had them as my
Or did you?
7th or 8th seed, I think. I had to look at my thing.
Okay, maybe you are a little crazy then. Okay.
Okay.
I thought you had them. I thought you had them outside the playoffs. I'm thinking of a different team then. But yeah, no. I mean, I thought I was high on them, but I guess you were higher on them. I don't know what you smoking over there, but
okay.
But yeah, no. I mean, one of the things too that's helping them out is like they've always been a good transition defense, but then they're also transition offense, and that's how they get a lot of their points. But they're also able to this year play a little bit in the half court as well, and create more offense as opposed to what they've been doing in years past, where if they didn't get a steal, which they often didn't because their defense was so bad, they weren't really getting any points at all. So they're able to turn that around this year too.
Fair enough. Additionally, in the East, the Boston Celtics, not a surprise, have looked elite, 9-2. Philadelphia 76ers have looked great without James Harden. Tyrese Maxey, as you've mentioned, has completely stepped up and is probably one of the favorites for most improved player. Joel Embiid has also been doing what he normally does as well. And Tobias Harris has gotten a lot more touches without James Harden. As we mentioned, Pacers are also sitting at 3rd. Miami made a little bit of a turnaround. Now they're sitting at 7-4, firmly in the top 4 seed. The Milwaukee Bucks are on a little win streak here, sitting at 7-4. Other than that, some surprises that I would have is pretty much the Cleveland Cavaliers are sitting at 4-6. Jared Allen's been in and out of the lineup as he's been dealing with his injuries as well. So they haven't really had their full array of players, but still a little surprised to see them that low. So anything else that you wanted to touch on out of the East?
Yeah, one thing about the Bucks is
doesn't look good. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Talent-wise, they're gonna win games, but it doesn't look good.
Yeah, it's another one of those things too, where we were just talking about you in this day and age with the NBA, you got to have solid offense and everything. You got to be able to score points.
Yep.
But you also have to somewhat be able to stop somebody on defense. Like it's literally just Swiss cheese out there every time somebody gets the ball on the other team. Like you and I can go out there and drop at least 15. You know,
like Giannis is a good defender. Brook Lopez is a good defender. Jay Crowder off the bench has been notoriously known as being a good defender. So like I don't know.
But a lot of those defenders that you just named are up there in age as well too. So
Giannis is 28.
Well, other than Giannis, obviously.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I'm just saying, like, they're missing a step for sure. They're currently ranked 24th out of 30 teams in defensive rating.
Yeah.
My Pistons are above them right now. So, yeah, I don't know. And on offense too, like, yeah, they're
top
scoring,
10
but they're they're 7th right now in offensive rating. Yeah. But if you're going to be that low in defensive rating, you got to be like the Mavericks, who are 2nd right now in offensive rating, only behind your Pacers. So
damn straight.
Okay, don't you forget it. One underrated thing too that I like to look at for teams, especially if they have a below average offense, is how do they do on the boards? So are they rebounding the ball? Are they getting missed shots? Are they preventing second chance points for the other team? And so that's one of the other things too that has been kind of surprising, is that they're 25th right now in defensive rebounds. Like the other team is just, oh, we missed a shot. Okay, let's get up and get another shot. Oh, we missed that one too. Let's get a third shot. Oh, we missed that one again. It's the Pistons I'm talking about. We missed again. Let's just get another one up. It's Ausar Thompson that's getting all these rebounds too. But it's I don't know. They're a strange team to figure out for sure.
Fair enough.
One last thing too. The Brooklyn Nets surprisingly been playing pretty well this far. And at least in terms of the betting market, they've currently covered every single game that they've played in. So I think going forward, maybe start to look to fade them because they're obviously not going to cover every game. But they have definitely been playing a lot better than what people were thinking that they were going to do. I think that currently Ben Simmons is hurt right now, but
he's actually came out today saying that he was going to miss a lot of time because it was confirmed that he has a nerve irritation in his hip. So he's supposed to be out for the foreseeable future. But you're right. The Nets have looked good. They're always an entertaining team. One thing that I will point out, I thought you were going to point it out, so I wasn't even going to say it, but I will give you your flowers. After starting the season 0-3, the Houston Rockets are now on a 6-game winning streak and are 6-3 currently, 3rd or 4th in the Western Conference. They have wins they had the first win against the Hornets, but they have beaten the Kings twice, the Lakers, the Pelicans, and they just beat the Nuggets. So,
we like that.
I can't even like that's been surprising. They've beaten some very good talent in competition. So that also was surprising.
Also though, like when they beat the Kings, they didn't have De'Aaron Fox. When they beat the Lakers, it was on I think it was the second night of the back-to-back for the Lakers. So it was, and I think when they played against the Nuggets, they also didn't have
they didn't have Jamal Murray.
Exactly.
But you can only play who's in front of you. But
true. But I'm just saying, like it's like the wins that the Seahawks have. They play against a little bit of soft competition.
Okay. If you would have told me that the Lakers were playing the Rockets, even because the Lakers played when they played the Rockets, we didn't have AD, so we did have LeBron. I still would have favored the Lakers, which is why they were favored, and the Nuggets were still favored and stuff like that. But the Rockets have looked pretty good. They've been a very good defensive team over the past few games, holding team to around under 100 points. So it's actually been pretty good.
That if they can just get their offense going, then that'll make them definitely a more complete team. I can't even find them at the bottom of this list right here. Where are they? My God.
Offensively, they're 12th.
Am I blind?
Defensively,
actually, I might be blind.
Oh,
yep, there they are. Yeah, 12th on offense, which is kind of surprising because it doesn't seem like they're 12th on offense based on how they move the ball around or don't move
defense.
The ball around,
they're 4th, so borderline top 10 in both offense and defense. So,
see, the Orlando Magic are another one of those teams too, where they're playing 90s basketball. they're basically just shooting mid-range shots. I believe they lead the league in or top 5 as well at points in the paint, and they have the 3rd least amount of 3-point shots taken or attempted, I should say. So they're not winning in terms of like the math equation when they go against teams that shoot threes. However, their defense has been pretty stout in terms of the amount of points that they're allowing and stuff, and defensive rating wise, they're currently 3rd right now, only behind the Celtics and the Timberwolves. So
Lakers play them again on Sunday. We'll be sure to get our get back. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Anything else that you wanted to get into in the NBA?
No, I don't believe so. You're getting a little nasally over there, so we might have to call it.
Legit. It's out here sick, COVID sucks, all that stuff. Well, thank you for listening, everybody. This has been the Call Your Shot Podcast with your hosts, Alex Harris and Drew Moore. You can find us whenever you can find your podcasts. And if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to check our links at the bottom of the description for our social medias. Anything else, Drew?
No, I think that's pretty much it. Just making sure that you're liking, subscribing. Make sure you download the podcast as well. Share it to all your friends, family, and even your neighbor too, if you like them. If you don't like them, you can still share it to them. Yeah, them, they, them, So
we'll see you next Wednesday.
Peace.